Hello, 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 and welcome to the Drag Race RHAPup here on RHAP. We know reality TV. I'm your host, Liana Boraas, and today we're going to be talking about the second half of the premiere, officially episode 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race season 17. And with me is the crew to break everything down. First, Beth Dixon. Beth, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a fast week. I feel like that's like flown by for me. And so I'm excited that I got to see Drag Race what felt like so soon from last week.
Yes, and our panel would not be complete without Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you?
Super excited to be back in. Yeah, I do feel like this went by fast. I feel like we just sat down to talk about the premiere, and
I
here
felt
we
like it was
are.
like 2 days ago.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm fine with it.
and here we are.
Time does fly. We thought we were going to have an eliminated queen, but no. All the queens are still here. And don't worry, we'll get into everything from the episode. But first, I just want to stop down and talk a little bit about the Vivienne's passing. Unfortunately, we didn't know this at the time we recorded. This was breaking news that same day that we recorded, just later in the day. And I think, like most people, genuinely heartbroken over the situation. So sending all love, all the warm energy to her family and just anyone who's been impacted by this. I know it really hurt me as someone who she's essentially my age, and that was really tough. So I just want to say, like, hearts go out to the anyone impacted and the entire situation.
Yeah, for sure. After we recorded, it was like 3 hours later that the news broke or something like that. And I like weirdly was like, I don't know if it's weird, I guess, but I just felt like very affected by it for a couple of days. Like it really was just like, oh my God, I can't believe that this like force of nature has passed. And especially now, like learning that in the last few days, I have no idea what the cause of death is. Nobody knows at this point, but it looks like, there was a lot of homophobia thrown her way in her last few days based off of a television appearance that she had in the UK. And that's just really sad to think about. And so I guess just like my one takeaway from everything is just that you never know when it's somebody else's last days. And so why fill it with hate? If you can't say something nice, keep it to yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's weird. It's very surreal. Like, we've had a few other deaths in the Drag Race community. I think this one, I mean, not that it's a competition, obviously, but I think this one sort of like hit me the most. I think because, I was like around to see like her entire story for Drag Race, and then to see like how many of her sisters are just so heartbroken. It really just, it sucks. And yeah, I agree, Beth. I just feel like you just never really know what people are going through, and it really is not hard to be kind. And at the very least, like you said, if you don't have something nice to say, then just like don't say anything at all. Like it's because now now we have to think about how maybe her last couple of days weren't the best, and that just really sucks. But I'm so glad that there seems to be a lot of love and support in the community, and so many people are sharing such funny and really, really cool and awesome stories. She was obviously very, very well loved. So my heart goes out to everybody that's been affected by it, and her family, especially because I think we tend to forget that like she has a real family too outside of the Drag Race family. So I think giving them the privacy and the space that they need is really important now.
And I think it also hit me again at the end of this episode because we do get the tribute to her before the next time on. And I'm also hoping that they'll do something at the finale of season 17.
Yeah.
As you said, Vivienne was just such a big part of the Drag Race community and the Drag Race family. And I think a lot of us are still just genuinely hurt from this. And I agree that this is also a moment to let's continue to share love and positivity and protect each other and take care of each other in moments like this.
Especially, we all know that this next, especially year, but coming years are going to be hard, specifically on the LGBTQIA plus communities, not just here in America, but across the world. And I hate to say it like this, but let's take a page out of those that we don't agree with politically's book and protect ourselves. Let's look out for each other. Let's look out for our own. We need community more than ever. And use that block button religiously if you need to on social media. Just, it's better to keep you and your loved ones' peace of minds like at the forefront.
I'm not going to say this person's name because reasons, but something that was kind of cool to see was Mother Ru.
Yes. Sorry.
Making a bit of a statement. And I thought that was because sometimes, Ru sometimes be playing the I'm not saying nothing card, but it was nice to see, like, nah, like we're not going to have this kind of behavior. Like this is not cool. So I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I also don't want to give any more air to the situation, but I think let's love. Let's keep loving, live laughing and loving, and and try to really just move forward together as a community from this. So I think thank you both for taking the time to share words. And if anybody ever wants to reach out to any of us or in the comments or anything, if you want to talk, or if you want to talk to somebody, reach out. You are not alone. Everybody are sharing feelings. Humans are communal animals. Like, we are meant to be in community. So don't be afraid to reach out and rely on that community.
And don't be afraid to look up. There are so many different lifelines and resources. There are community and local resources, most likely in a lot of different areas, even in some red states there are. And please just also look at, online like trans lifelines or suicide help lifelines, drug, alcohol abuse lifelines. Like, just know that if you don't feel like you have somebody in your support network that you can really talk to, there are a bunch of anonymous resources out there for you to reach out to.
Okay.
Snaps to that.
Well, we do have an episode of Drag Race to talk about, so awkwardly transitioning to, a show where Ru gets to say butthole because of Lydia.
Lydia's never going home purely so that RuPaul can say butthole every week.
The El DeBarge effect, right? Like,
bring back my butthole.
Bring back my buttholes.
Well, we've now gotten to see the second part of the premiere. Aman, what now are kind of your overall thoughts that we have seen every single queen perform in a talent show? Shady. Aman is coughing, but I came across a little bit like...
You gagged him with that question.
I've had a bit of a cough for the past week. It's so annoying. Like, every time I breathe in, it's like so annoying. There are some people, I think with this group in particular, we got to see, I think at least two queens really show that, yes, you can perform your own original song, but if you know how to make a nice, clean, addictive hook, everybody will be in on it. So I thought that, in the lip sync original song extravaganza, we definitely had a few people that came out on top. One that comes to mind in particular, definitely On Your Nerve. She didn't really do a lot on stage physically, but it was all in the personality of the song and in the personality of the lyrics. And I had a good time watching her.
Absolutely. She had, and for me, it wasn't even the hook. Like, the hook was a byproduct of the charisma on stage. I think people bought into the hook because of her attitude and charisma and stage presence. Like, that to me was like, okay, versus you had other girls who tried to do hooks. Like, I'm a call out Corey King, tried to do a hook and it didn't catch on because we were distracted about, is this coming out? That's not to say that Corey did bad, by the way. I'm just saying, if you compare hook wise, I think that we were a little bit more bought into one of the stage presences.
I do think it was interesting that the two queens who ultimately ended up in the bottom from both last week and this week were the queens that didn't do their own original songs, right? And it's so funny because we talk about how, it's so nice to see something other than the original songs. But I mean, even with the queens, whether or not there was social politics involved, which certainly to a degree there were, but it also did seem like the general consensus with that Hormona Lisa just did the worst overall. Yeah. What can you do about that?
These comedy challenges, man. You really, you gotta. Oh my God, you have to workshop your jokes, okay? And you have to workshop the jokes with a variety of audiences. We just heard about how Nikki Glaser, who just recently hosted the Golden Globes, she workshopped a lot of her jokes. She made sure that she would go to this person, that person, this person, that person, and if she was getting laughs, she knew that she was on the right track. I just want to know, Hormona, who did you perform the jokes for?
Herself in the mirror. Come on. Also, I have to call out something I have not been able to get out of my mind. Last week on the pit stop.
Yes.
Raven called her Mona Lisa sadness from inside out, like the confessional look. And I can't not see it now. And it's just like if she were.
Yeah, she went to DragCon.
Oh, that's even better. I didn't even see this.
Yeah,
that's
let me find it.
incredible.
It was so fun. She really leaned into it.
As she should. Like, absolutely. That is so funny to me. I just thought that, like, I instantly was like, oh my God, that's exactly who she is. And she also has kind of like a personality that's not sad. It's like the happy version of sadness, but is also like, I don't know.
It's so good.
I'm living. I am living. This is what they say that you need to, like, you know, if you spin out like on ice or something like that, if you slip, you have to, you know,
just go
turn into the skid.
Yes.
This is exactly doing that on a drag and like level. And I give major props to people who can be vulnerable and probably have low moments in the first couple of episodes and still come into DragCon.
I want to see
like
the
that.
rest of the ensemble now. I need some of these I need some of her sisters to be the other ones. I need to see the whole full lineup
exactly.
Yeah, the Inside Out runway. I would live for that.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, look, I think let's just go through everybody and let's just give our thoughts on the looks, the talent show. I do have, here's again my little cheat sheet to remember who everybody is. We're still in that learning process. But let's kick things off with Sam Starr. So we know that Sam was also going to do a country number. This was much discussed of Sam not wanting to go in the same week as Acacia Forgot. And Sam does not a live singing performance, Beth, but instead like her own country song, lip sync, dance, choreography, dancey thing.
I feel like I'm not on the same wavelength as like any of the queens because I was like genuinely interested in her performance. Like, yeah, I know that it was kind of like generic original song, person goes on stage and performs it, but like who almost wasn't like that except for a couple exceptions this entire time. I thought that she did a great job. I thought that she showed, first of all, I could understand her lyrics. That is, I can't put that out there enough. Like if you were going to do your own original song, make it so that we can understand what you're saying because that is such a huge portion of what you're trying to showcase as your talent. So that I loved listening to Sam Starr because I thought that her lyrics were fun and they were cute and I got a sense of like her kind of background. And I thought that this runway look for her was really cute too. I loved the dress of cake and then in the back, nothing. You get to see her cakes. Like I thought all of this was really good and very solid. Something I would expect from like the Southern charm, but also excellence of the House of Trinity Tuck.
Yeah, she looked very, very polished in both her looks. I'm taking a little bit of inspiration for whatever Beyonce is about to announce on Tuesday for which we believe to be the Cowboy Carter tour. And I was like, let me the assless chap situation. Y'all know I love a chap. I love it when they're assless. So I thought she looked great. The song itself is fine, whatever. But I like is she gonna jump from that moment? That was cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the meniscus surgery. Not the meniscus.
I won't lie.
The knee in danger.
The knee didn't look clean. Let's just say it how it was. Yeah.
No, I do feel like if she had turned where her bent leg was on the backside towards the hay, that probably would have looked a little bit better. But for Sam, she was somebody who initially, when I saw the performance, I was like, okay, it's fine. But as I saw more of them, I liked Sam's more,
Agreed.
Like the relative comparisons sort of as you see more of the performances. So Sam's definitely grew on me. I think for Sam, I can see the polish. I can see everything that she's presenting. To me, there's just some sort of like it factor or grit or like like something else that I want from Sam to really be like, oh yes, I'm totally all in on her. I'm super excited about her. But you cannot deny the polish and the professionalism that she brings to the stage.
That's what
so
it is.
how old
It's
is she
too
again?
professional.
She is.
She's young. Well, I mean, like considering that the oldest queen in the season's like 32 or 33, and they're calling her auntie and grandma and such. And I just want to say, as a 36-year-old, you're completely correct. Actually, I am very fucking old.
No, we are not letting this narrative persist.
Listen, you know what? Last week I sneezed and threw out my back for a day. So you know what? We're not wrong. We're not wrong here. No.
No,
Damn.
I hate it. Yeah,
she's 24.
She's 24. Sam Star, so Sam Star is 24.
So she's old for this season, and it's just just kidding. But this is what we're seeing, right? I think what we have here is a season of people who have a vision of what they want to be, but they're still absolutely trapped of what you see with anybody in their 20s of performing and doing it in the way that they think they have to, rather than the way that is truest to themselves. There's a vision. There's like the vision is there. There's like with her, it's all professionalism, but where's the you in particular? We're seeing the you that you think you want us to see, and that is like 75% genuine. Where's that missing 25%? That is who is going to, like, you take someone like Lucky Stars, who is like so individual, but there's, and even with like how incredible she is, there's still moments, like we will get into it, where I'm like, missing some polish, missing some things over here. She's all polished, but she's missing just something, like you're saying, like that star power, that grit, that's something that's just like,
I was going to use that word,
boom.
Grit. I think she just needs a little bit more time in the oven to like get a little twisted, get a little dark and twisty, and like she just needs a little bit more life, I think. Just a little bit more life, a little bit more experience, and then that'll change how her art, how she expresses herself. But you know, I'm interested to see what she brings to the table. You know, she had her mama there or no, is Trinity mama or aunt? Is it mama? Mama. She had her mama there at the premiere. So, you know, as Raja would say, you got your mama coming, you got RuPaul calling you her child. What the fuck is that about?
Well, I think for reference, Trinity was 31 when she competed on her first season of Drag Race. And so I do wonder, you know, you get a younger Trinity, and not saying obviously that they're the same person, but if Sam in a couple years, maybe Sam can come back for an All-Stars and like absolutely crush it. That being said, within this cast, I still think Sam will do well. And we're going to get at the end of the episode, we're going to talk about who we think are going to be our top 4. And Sam is definitely one of those names that I'm thinking about for that position. But I think that Sam, in the way that y'all mentioned Lucky Stars is a potential comparison, I would almost compare to Anya Nerve as like the opposite side of the Sam coin. Because to me, Anya Nerve is someone who, maybe hasn't been doing drag all that long, you know, talks about coming into the queer community later in life. Again, later in life, she's freaking 30 or 31 or something like that, right? Okay, so like, oh my god,
later days.
Exactly. God willing, she's got so many years left. Anyway, so Anya Nerve, though, to me, just personality. Oh my god, she's the person I'm so invested in terms of personality, but I'm so nervous the lack of polish is going to end up screwing her over. But her performance, I think, is a good example of how you can take something that is seemingly little, but zhuzh it up and give it so much energy and personality. Even her tiny little movements she was doing on screen during the performance were so captivating. Like, I don't even understand it, Beth. Why? Yeah, how was I so obsessed with this?
You know why? It's because, you know, when you have somebody who just like, even if they're not the best dancer, they're a good mover. You know what I mean? She's somebody who can move and get into it, and she has everything like invested from her toes to her head, even if it's not like the most classically trained dance moves or whatever of all time. The fact that she basically reinvented the hokey pokey and we were excited about it shows you just that star power that she's got. She is somebody that I genuinely think, like, I'm already sitting here going, I don't know how far she'll go in this particular season, but I am already at 2 episodes in looking forward to when do we get her on All Stars, when she comes back with some money and experience and such in her pocket and she's the confessional queen. Like, I really see her as kind of like those queens that people discounted on their original seasons, the Rajas, the Silkies, like the people who like were, you know, whatever the case might be, and then come back and just make statement after statement after statement. She is somebody that, while she is newer to, you know, both the queer and the drag community, I'm already getting her point of view because she is a little older, like you're saying, because she has some lived experience. She has a perspective with which to like do drag. And I'm not saying if you're younger, you don't have that perspective. Of course you do. But you have to realize that as you get older, that perspective ends up being like I'm already looking at my college students. I don't know if you do the same thing, Liana, and go like, oh my God, I can see myself trying to figure it out. And I know that they've got about 5 more years before it sinks in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know how cringe I was when I was that. I mean, now I thought it was so cool when I was younger. Like, Jesus,
isn't that funny? Like, we think we were so cool when we were younger, but yeah, like, now we think we're cool because of who we are genuinely. And like, it doesn't matter if it's cool by society standards. Like, we podcast about drag queens in reality show television. Like, when I'm on dating apps, people are like, so what are you a nerd about? And I'm like, well, you're about to learn, you know, like, but I'm so fiercely invested in it. So who gives a shit? Versus like when you're younger, you still give a shit because you have to, because you're trying to carve out your space in the world. So you have to give a shit. Anya Nerve is refreshing because she has that I don't give a shit feeling, but she clearly does, I'm saying, but like she has that feeling. We just need that experience to match that level. She's going to be completely unstoppable. And if I can, just for, I know I've been like rambling. As a side note, I love that we have somebody, again, who's on the show who can say, I joined the queer community later in life. What we mean by that, and for somebody like myself who like, it took a long time for my own like identity journeys and such, and it will always be unraveling throughout my life. I always like when we have people who say, I came to this later in life. And later in her life, meaning that for all the years that are formative for people building relationships and understanding each other, there's been a little question in the back of the head. And there's a level of freedom and also like a you can't take this away from me that she has that I think is completely because of that journey.
Yeah, and I think that it is not lost on me that in her performance with the in out, she got more of a she got more of a call and response than Sam did when Sam was asking for a call and response. So I just want to put that note out there that Anya really does seem like such a personality queen and a force, I think, to be reckoned with if the polish can at least grow enough. Again, you don't have to be perfect, like just enough to keep you out of the bottom. I think she can rely on that personality, girl.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I'm sorry, I had to take a brief hiatus. My sister called me for some foolishness and wouldn't let me off the phone. Anyway, I don't know if I'm repeating anything that you guys said, but yeah. Oh my God!
Between the sister and the cough, nothing will let you speak.
She is. She was so fun, and it's a nice sort of like facelift to her participation in this competition thus far, because that runway last week was terrible. And I am just so happy to see her really just engage with the judges in the way that she did. T.S. Madison was getting her life, Ru was getting her life, the queens were getting her life. You just know that you have stage presence when you were able to command the room like that. And I cannot wait to see what else she got up her sleeve, because that personality will take you far. It really will.
I also think this is a very beautiful dress and outfit. But the issue is that the fit is not there. Like she doesn't have the shape for it. Like she doesn't have the breasts for the cups. It needs to be cinched a little bit more. I like the color. I wish the wig wasn't red. Like, I feel like it would have popped a little bit better. I think that, like, those are the things. Like, she's like almost there, but then it's just kind of like, ooh, I don't know.
Right. It's a boot for me. For a lot of the reasons that you mentioned. I do think the color is gorgeous, and I think the concept is there. It's just not executed to the level, unfortunately, that we have come to expect on Drag Race now. Yeah. But if she had walked out in this in season 4, I mean, stunning.
Hello.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even season like 8 or 9, let's be honest. Like, we have this idea that like this is what the drag looked like in like the early seasons, and I'm like, no, take a look at season like 8, 7 in that area. Like, this is at that level. So if you're coming out and you're new to the scene and you're giving a season 7, 8 drag, honestly, I don't think you're that far behind the times. Like, you've got a little bit more to get there, but yeah.
All right, next up is Crystal Envy, who does end up in the top 2 this week, Aman, for her own song reveal dance number.
Which I felt like wasn't quite deserved, but it's okay. I love the look. It's very avant-garde. It's very it pushes the envelope just enough. It reminds me of Attack on Titan, that flesh-toned, like, bodysuit that she's got on. In terms of her performance, I just wanted more. I felt like it was supposed to go some places higher, and I just wanted more. I wanted more tricks. I wanted more reveal. I wanted more. And I just felt like I was always like just on the cusp of getting my life with that performance. Not a bad performance at all. The wig was terrible. I saw the line the entire time. I couldn't take my eyes away from it, but
I know.
Call her out.
It was bad. And it was really low on her head too. And I don't know if that was like just you wanted to try to keep it on, but it was like fine. It was fine. I agree with you, Aman, about the look. It's also the copper tone that's the reference that she's going for, the hand product. But then with the muscle suit was like the Jersey reference that Michelle was mentioning. Like, why was she muscly?
I'm going to say that the reason why she's also muscly and that kind of thing is probably also because there is such a conversation about drag queens and children that there's the line that she didn't want to be like, this is so clearly a child. Like, obviously she's giving homage to the little girl in like the like copper tone logo and like picture and all that kind of stuff, but like I kind of interpreted this as like, yes, this is Jersey, like Jersey Shore, Jim Taylor and Laundry back in 2012, let's go Jersey Shore moments. But I'm also getting this like, I don't know, maybe this is just me being too political, but I had this moment of like, if I'm going to do something that's a little bit more avant-garde, risky, has a picture of a child whose butt is exposed from years and years and years ago, but you do it drag, all of a sudden this is going to be an issue in today's society, even though nobody else would blink an eye if like a supermodel who's a cis woman did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the look and the execution of this is really good. I am not a big fan of like these like bodysuits that have like painted on, because it's so hard for it to match your tone. Like her skin does not match the color on her face, if that makes sense. Like, and so that's distracting to me. But I do think that this was like, of all the runways, like this was like really fun. Like I instantly got the reference. I thought this was really cute. But I agree that I felt like the performance, while it was high energy and such, it felt like a lip sync for your life. It didn't feel like a, like, let me show off my talents. I'm going to say it, and I know this is disrespectful because I'm not a drag performer, but I'm kind of bored by Crystal. Like, I just kind of feel like she's like stereotypical pretty girl who can dance and move, who doesn't give me much personality, doesn't give me much star power. And I feel like she'll probably be around for a little while, but like, I don't think that she's going to be like causing waves. She's another person that I think is just like doing the formula of drag and Drag Race, and therefore thinking that, okay, I'm really good at this. But really, once she taps into the things that are really true to her, I think that she'll be like really outstanding.
Yeah, and this also has to do with the lip sync for the win as well. But like, that's enough forward rolls. I've seen enough forward rolls now, okay, or backward rolls, I guess. She did do it both ways. It was like, okay, let me
roll
see.
on off, girl.
She's a bi roller.
Yeah, does it both ways. We already talked a little bit about Hormona Lisa, but is there anything else? Well, actually,
The Marie
the Marie Antoinette saga throughout this episode, because we got 2 Marie Antoinettes. I believe Joella was the other one who did the Marie Antoinette look-a-mon, and Michelle was not happy.
Yeah, this is her new green, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that Marie, I feel like I forget that Marie Antoinette is referenced as much as it is until someone else does it. And then I'm like, yeah, you know what? There is a lot of Marie Antoinettes and there's a lot of Madonna kimonos. That's what I know about Drag Race.
Well, how are you going to have a cake theme runway and not expect at least one person to do Marie Antoinette? Like, everybody's going to go there if you're a queer like person doing drag on Drag Race.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as a reminder, the runway, well, that was with the whole Lawrence Chaney thing when Lawrence Chaney showed up.
Lawrence Chaney.
But the Traitors reference, so we got another reality TV reference in there.
There were multiple in like what they were talking about. They had the Is It Cake, they had which is the runway, they have the Traitors, but then she also listed something else off from another show, and I can't remember. Lawrence did, and I can't remember what it was now. But are they just every week, like is next week Big Brother week, where they make Big Brother references? And then, we already did The Circle, and we've had Squid Games, and like, I don't know. I just think like I can't wait for the episode where they go, okay, and now for this week, your maxi challenge is going to be creating a look out of materials you find in the Fijian jungle, and we're actually all flying out to Fiji to be on the same island as the survivor. Like, what are we doing? I think this is low key cool for people like us, but I'm also like, I don't know what the season is going to look like. This is interesting.
I think it's just the premiere.
I would pay to see Jeff Probst in drag. I think that is something that I need to see before I die. And I'm still holding out hope for that show that was rumored to be like a Big Brotherification of Drag Race, where these drag queens are living together. I'm still holding out hope that that was not just a rumor. So, hey, maybe this is the preceptor to that.
What would Jeff Probst's drag name be, and why would it be Immunity Idol?
Oh, that's cute.
Don't you think? Welcome to the stage, Immunity Idol.
I see it.
Yeah, it definitely rolls off the tongue better than Safety Without Power. So I think that one is definitely better. So but the other thing to go back to the Traitors of it all, just to sort of stop down in the middle of talking about all the queens. But if you are not watching Traitors, so Bob the Drag Queen is on Traitors this season, and I highly, highly, highly recommend. Bob is so entertaining, is popping off, giving out drag names for free, called, there's just a teeny tiny, not really a spoiler, but called Zac Efron's brother Misguided. That should be your drag name, Misguided. Amazing. Yeah, Bob has been so fun. So if you are which there is a lot of crossover between all of these sort of reality TV fandoms and Drag Race specifically. So if you are a fan, I do recommend. But that was very funny to have the Lawrence Chaney come in and be like, oh, I'm Alan Cumming.
Yeah. That was so funny. I also have to say, just as a side note, we're in agreement. Monet Exchange is definitely going to be on Trader season 4. Like, it just like, okay, they did Peppermint and then Bob, like Monet's got to be next. And Monet's so obsessed.
I'm like still so shocked that she was on before Bob. That has to have been like some type of scheduling error, because, and don't get me wrong, like Liana said, y'all need to watch it if you're not, because Bob is really, he's like a bull in a china shop right now. It's really, I don't think I've ever really seen this socially aggressive side of Bob before. But we all know that out of the two of them, Monet is the real Survivor Big Brother person, and so I'm just shocked that it's her before Monet. But everything happens for a reason.
Contextually too, that's I think important, as I haven't watched the Traitors yet. I am trying to find a login that I can get. So I have one, but I just haven't logged in yet. But I think contextually what I'm going to be excited about, not excited, that sounds awful the way about what I'm about to say, but I'm interested to see how Bob plays the game, knowing that their mother passed away like a couple of weeks before this in the filming. And so Bob has been, Bob, I think was on The Bald and the Beautiful when Trixie was on hiatus, or maybe when she came back, I can't remember, but talked about how this was like single-handedly the hardest experience that she's had, like filming anything. And so I have to imagine, yes, there's the psychological aspects that go with a game like this, but I'm also interested to see, like, is this the Bob that we know? Is this the Bob that has more grit? Is this the Bob that seems more emotional? And I hate to say, like, I'm going to be entertained by knowing that Bob was in pain. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I guess, like, when you understand human aspects of social games like this, I think that that's just interesting to see.
That's a fair point. Because like I said, it definitely feels like a different Bob that I'm watching right now. And I completely forgot about what he's been going through lately. So it's interesting. But he's fantastic television, as always. So definitely check it out.
Love Bob. Hermona Lisa, though.
Well, no, so the whole reason why I brought this up was to essentially talk about the runway category. So we get with Lawrence Chaney, we get the cock or cake game, and it's cock, and we find out that is then leads into the runway category, which is it cake, which is essentially showing your ass. So you sort of have multiple levels. You've got cake in like cake. You have cake as in like cake, and then you have ass, which Susie Toots also takes, and we'll talk about that in a sec, takes her own interpretation. So multiple layers, Beth, and then that's why I think we see the two Marie Antoinette's classic let them eat cake.
Yeah, and going back to the Marie Antoinette of it all, and I understand Michelle Visage's opinion on this. Like, I agree that, like, we've seen quite a bit of it before. So if you're going to bring a Marie Antoinette to the stage, it better be at a level that is something that we haven't seen before. I love what her Mona Lisa has put together. I think this is a gorgeous outfit. I love that she, in the confessional, said, I'm doing a lot of the trans colors. I would not have immediately gone to trans colors with this because it's so subtle comparatively. But when she brings it out, it just brings that extra layer of beauty to it, especially like the flowers in her hair. I think she looks absolutely gorgeous in this. That said, I'm not going to sit here and go like, oh man, that dethroned Raja, or who was the first to do it, or anything like that. So I think if you're going to do something that has been done on the stage before, you got to bring it at a level that is so unique and different that we don't think about anything else.
Yeah, I think an interesting take that what I would love to see with the Marie Antoinette is like broken
beheaded
down version of her, maybe a little beheading, but also just like, she never actually said let them eat cake. Like, that's a myth.
Right.
And I want somebody to like tell that story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, I think that would give it a little bit more texture, and maybe Michelle would shut up.
Go ahead, Beth.
No, you go ahead.
Well, no, I was also just going to say for her Mona Lisa, the stand-up, I mean, I think you guys touched on everything, which was that, the jokes were okay, but if that's what you're going to start with, you really have to knock it out of the park. And I just feel like Mona Lisa really didn't do that.
I was just going to say the same thing about and just, the stand-up, we've already kind of talked about it. The one thing though is that, and I don't know if this is like the producers make them say lines like this, because I could almost feel like her heart wasn't in this when she had the confessional that was like, I feel like I should get extra points for doing something that wasn't like my own song. Like, I went out there and I tried to showcase a different talent, but you could even tell in the way that she was saying that she wasn't like fully convinced of that. Like, I think she knew, it's a sad situation that you go out there and you're like, I don't know anybody, unless you're literally Bianca Del Rio or maybe even Bob or somebody like that, who should do comedy as their talent, because everybody who's tried to do that has not done well.
Yeah, it is tough because we've talked about this where I do appreciate someone doing something that's not just a lip sync, but at the same time it still has to be good. So
can we move towards a model where they say, okay, the first couple weeks, instead of doing what we call a talent show, you have to come to the premiere with a song that you have written and will perform? Like that, to me, that showcases who you are, blah, 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 blah. Then we get rid of this idea of talent show. You could save that for later and then make the stipulation you can't be lip syncing to your own song. Do something else, that ends up being like a challenge. This could be something that everybody gets to universally do. We've already gotten to the point where everybody's releasing their singles and their EPs and whatever on the day that they get there. So why not build that into the model of Drag Race officially?
Yep. Yeah. It's the official branding introductory challenge,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tell us who you are.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Corey King, who also, again, does her own song and does the catchphrase, shake that ice, I think was the catchphrase that she was going for, Beth.
Yes. And you know what? I identify that with that very, very much. I'm an iced coffee, iced latte queen. I love the shaking. That little blonde woman who's in the car is like, is there any other sound that's better than this? Shh. When she's shaking the Dunkin', that's me. That's me living my best life. And so I enjoyed the Corey King performance. Corey is somebody that I'm going to just put it out there. This entire season so far, I'm living for people who are shady in the confessionals. I know that I'm traditionally somebody who's been like, I don't know, like you got to back it up. I actually don't care if you back it up or not. I feel like this entire season so far, I'm just rooting for people who are giving me like a lot of fun entertainment. And she's somebody who's willing to do that. I thought that her performance overall was fine. I wasn't like blown away by her, but I wasn't also like, I don't know, like I didn't sit there going, I'm like, boo, tomato, tomato at the TV. So it was fine.
I think her and Anya Nerve were kind of similar in that their performances were, you know, not a lot going on physically. She definitely did a lot more than Anya did, but it's just the catchiness of it all. It's just the ridiculousness of it, and it's just fun. Like there's a shot of RuPaul looking at her, and she is like in it, like she's just like completely entranced by that. And again, that's like just the power of someone who knows how to really command the stage. And I saw a little bit of that single ladies choreography in her, Corey. I saw it. I peeped it. I was like, oh, okay. I'm easily bought. Okay. And that little piece of ice at the end that came off her dress is a paid actor. Okay. The way that it just slid across the floor like that. Oh, loved it.
For the runway look, Corey does Monet Exchange's Work the World tour look, which, am I missing something here for the cake reference?
It's just showing off her butt. Like,
okay.
I genuinely think this was something where she was like, I don't have something for this, so I'm just going to show my juicy ass out of this outfit that I've got here. While also, like, again, it's cool that it's Monet Exchange's actual costume and such, but you could also tell it don't fit you like it fits Monet Exchange because you have a very different body than she does. I didn't think it fit well, unfortunately. I love her booty here. It looks good, but I wouldn't get cake runway from this.
Yeah, this seems like a flex. It seemed like, oh, look, I have connections to Monet Exchange. I have access to her closet. So let me pay homage to the fact that she has a big juicy ass by showing my big juicy ass, which is, you know, I like the sisterhood of it all. That's cute, but like, I'm not impressed. Like, I don't know. Like,
that
ever since Carrie Colby,
much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ever since Carrie Colby came with J-Lo's dress, it's just, you know, now it's starting to get a little bit gratuitous for some of these.
And like Gottmik coming with like legit runway items from like Versace and like all these other like shows and such. And I'm not trying to pretend like fashion and drag don't interact. And I think that that's incredible when they do. And when you're able to show that case set off. But when I think of runways, I think of your own personal interpretation of your drag, of how you do this, not sampling what somebody else has put together, which is really rich of me to say, considering everybody pretty much has somebody else design and make their clothes or whatever, but at least they're hopefully a part of the process with the designer.
But like, don't bring the exact garment. That to me is just...
Put some rhinestones on it. I don't want to see any fucking Versace runway on my runway.
Okay, Ru. Let's talk about Lingerie, who is, as we know, part of the Luxe Noir London drag family. And she makes that very clear, opening with the Luxe cardboard puppet, which this is going to sound mean, but I thought was the best part of the performance. Right. So
objectively correct.
Luxe, is Luxe mom or sister?
Yes. Mom.
Mother, yeah. Or daughter. Lana is the daughter of Luxe.
Get your children. Get your children. Why is she still wearing those cliffhangers? See that the cameras, they tried to save her, but there was one frame where I caught those toes peeking over the top of that shoe. What is going on? Are they too big and you're sliding forward? Are they too small? Whatever it is, throw them away. Okay, I'm tired of seeing those toes scream for help. It's really pissing me off now. And plus,
he's so worked up. Aman, calm down. It's okay.
It's okay.
Where is the charisma and the fun, playful, youthful, shady energy that we know of Lux Noir London? Where is that? Did she not pass that on to you? Come on, I know this girl can do better. I know she can do better. She just, I don't want her to be one of those queens that just relies on the looks and just relies on the body. Because I know that there's something more in this girl. I know that there is. She's just not showing it yet. So hopefully she proves me wrong for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the high kick into the death drop. I thought that was good, but I did agree with Michelle's critique, which was up until that point, it did feel a little bit like not dead behind the eyes particularly, but just, lacking that like
laissez-faire.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, maybe that should be our new name.
I honestly feel like lingerie is living up to the idea of lingerie, which is that lingerie doesn't have to do much. It just gets to sit on you and then make you look good. And she is somebody who has just an incredible body, these long legs that go on for months and years. You have just absolute, and the fact that is her natural ass that we will see, like when she turns around, incredible. Would I throw money on her on stage? Yes, of course. I tip all queens. But I would be like, well, this was a really good palate cleanser for whoever the main show is. And that is not what I should be feeling when you are trying to command the stage on RuPaul's Drag Race.
It reminds me a little bit of like the beginning of Naomi Smalls' story back on season 8. Like, this was, back during when, I think Ru was really starting to experiment with the younger queen. Oh, that sounds kind of freaky. Well, he was he was throwing younger queens in the cast that weren't necessarily as seasoned as some of like the mainstays that had a little less experience. They rely a little bit more on the Instagram of it all. This was like the beginning of that. And I think a lot of fans included were like, oh, Naomi, like we don't really get it. And I remember, I think RuPaul like asked, like, so what do you like bring to the table? Like, what is your thing? And Naomi was like, I'm Naomi Smalls. And then you eventually buy it. It's like,
yes,
yeah, this is the character. This is she owns everything. She's a model. She's that bitch. And there's a space in this competition for queens like that. I just don't know if Lana has like really hit the pocket of that yet.
Well, she doesn't have the confidence that Naomi and Lux exude. I'm not saying that you have to be braggadocious or like a borderline bitch about it or anything in the way that like Lux was, which is why I liked Lux. But what I see is somebody who, when we hear Michelle say to Courtney-Ack, don't stop relying on that body. This is really relying on that body. Stop relying on that body. You're hoping that any movement that you do, people are entranced with your body to the point where they lose you. And that's not the point of drag.
Yep.
She's 22, I think. And I just feel like I'm going to say this about so many queens that I just want to, as we've talked about with Sam, put them back in the oven for just a couple more years, because I do think that Lana has it. Like she can, once she comes into her own, I really do feel like she can fall into, the boldness of some of the other queens that we've talked about. It's just not there quite yet. I do think the look was stunning. I wasn't 100% sure, but some of the ties looked like they were kind of coming undone a little bit by the end. But maybe that was just me. But overall, I thought she looked gorgeous.
I kind of thought maybe that was the point. I thought that like the more that she walks, the looser it gets or whatever. And maybe that's not the point. And I was just like, I got to interpret it that way and give her some bonus points. But I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Let's close things out by talking about Lexi Love, who, to me, immediately, number one, if she doesn't win this week, I'm leaving. It's over. We're done. I'm living for her. She's my favorite. I'm obsessed with Lexi Love. The roller skating, the cartwheel, the splits, the floor work, the charisma, the energy, the look, everything for me. She was
the age.
The age. my granny queen.
They're all making these comments like she's going to be skating, like let's make sure the ambulance and like like what's
it's like, why are we like this? Why are the girls and the gays and the theys like this? Like, why is life over after 30? That is so toxic. We need to fix this. Guys, you have so much more life to live.
I'm going to tell it's way better in your 30s than it is. Your 20s fucking suck. If you are in your 20s and you're feeling like these are supposed to be the best years of my life, immediately realize that first of all, everybody's on their own individual journey and all that stuff. No. Your 20s almost objectively suck because you don't have the communities. If you went to college, for example, you don't have the communities that you had in college immediately. You're trying to figure yourself out. You're trying to like separate yourself. You ain't got no money. You don't have any agency at your working jobs. Typically, you don't have anything. And then at the same time, you're trying to fiercely show that you're someone different. So you make mistakes and all that shit. Your 20s are full of stupid mistakes, and that's fine. And we're seeing a shit ton of them on the main stage of RuPaul's Drag Race. You know, I love that we have somebody who has made those stupid mistakes and now has come to Drag Race. And I think that that's what I'm not frustrated with, but I'm just kind of like meh about this cast so far, is that I feel like so many of them came to RuPaul's Drag Race to have the transformation. I'm loving people like Lexi Love who said, bitch, I've already done the work. I'm here to show you how fucking fierce I am.
You know what? You remember that season of America's Next Top Model where she did all girls under like 5'9" or something like that? The short season.
The short season.
I want the 30+ season. Okay.
Yes.
That's what I want. Maybe because I turned 30 last year and I'm about to be 31. Maybe I'm a little biased now.
Welcome to the 30s. I can't wait. In like 4 years, I'm going to be like, where's the 40+ season? Representation. You know?
Yeah, I know.
But this is great because
RuPaul's dead and gone, and we're like, where are the 70-year-old queens?
What's great about this, first of all, is like, look at this outfit of Lexi's. Okay. In addition to the fact that it is so out there and interesting and fun and fashionable, her whole outfit represents a time when TVs literally made those colors and static and shit, when, you know, that is something that younger queens may not be as aware of, when you had to use antennas and shit. I love this. It's almost like Video Killed the Radio Star-esque feeling to it, which I love. There's that 80s vibe to it. This is also, to your point last week, Aman, having somebody who has had to carve their own path versus having a drag family or drag members who have been on Drag Race. This is what you see. You see someone who has a fully realized idea of who they are. And I think that that's just like, I love her. She's my winner pick right now. I want her to win so bad.
It was so fun. Just like, I just love one of those looks. And I love using this term that Ross uses, like, you're a feast. Like, just those looks that when they come around the corner, there's just always something to look at. And like when they leave the runway, you're like, no, come back. I want to see more. Like, that's what I got from this. It's just so fun and just bright and colorful and nostalgic, but also futuristic. It's a good time. And the performance, just so much fun. That triple split spinny thing, whatever she did, that made all the girls go up. It was just a good time. I also am a very big Lexi Love fan. And I think that we'll talk about it in a couple minutes, I assume, but I think she's probably going to be one of the ones in the end, for sure.
Yeah.
We ride at dawn if not.
She gives me Detox vibes, which I love.
Okay.
She reminds me a little bit of Mirage too, just a little bit.
Let's just quickly go through the rest of the looks for the week. Tudor boot. So in case you forgot, I would boot it too. It's fine.
I like a hairy ass, but whatever.
Yeah, I like that too. It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, it's bye.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about Ariete, who is still doing the nose paint, Beth. I'm so curious. You pointed it out last week that Lucky Stars might not get that critique, but Ariete might. So I'm awaiting Michelle giving the critique of the nose paint. Maybe if she keeps doing the elf thing, then it could work in her favor, but it does concern me.
Yeah. I like her conceptual looks, but 2 for the boot for the runway, like a theme.
Okay, yes. I completely agree with that.
Yeah,
the hair is cute.
This looks repurposed. That's okay, she's fine, and it is, the correct pronunciation is indeed Ariete.
Okay, Ariete. We're between Ariete and Ariete. We're debating. So Ariete, great, good to know. Jules Sparkles is up next. She commands a runway. It's simple, and does it really fit the theme? Kind of. I think. I mean, she shows her ass, but I love it. So I'm gonna toot this.
I don't like the sagging in the crotch.
Yes, that was the only thing I hated about
That's
it.
But it was so distracting for me because she's like using her pelvic region a lot when and I'm just like, okay, if you're gonna do that and showcase that and have our eyes go there,
boot.
It's not a boo. It's a toot for. If this is All Stars, it'd be a boot. It's a toot for me though.
Aman, boot or toot?
I'm mixed on it. It's a moot.
Yeah, a moot. Yeah,
moot.
Yeah. Joella, the other Marie Antoinette
boot.
Look. Okay, yeah, boot, especially because the back of the hair. Oh my god, boot. Oh my god, did you guys watch Untucked? So I realized I didn't watch Untucked from last week. I forgot Untucked existed. So I was.
I'm paying for Drag Race, and I decided so far I don't know if I want to pay for Untucked yet.
The bar that I watch it at never plays Untucked. They always go straight to the performing queens, which they should be. Support your local queens, but I always forget.
Okay. All you need to know is Joella wearing this, and her performance from last week was coming for all the queens. Like, the delusion is strong for Joella for herself, but she was accurate on some of the other queens' performances. But yeah, Joella was reading everybody for filth, given the fact she walked out in this. I mean, the tights not matching. Oh yeah, it was.
But also, like, I hate that there's a visible seam line on the side of the leg. Like, that to me is so distracting.
Yeah.
And like I know that is something
that you're gonna find. Joella. Don't embarrass Katie. Come on now.
Also, the dress
I don't
is
get the hair.
Fuck that. It's just bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. it's a boot. Lucky Stars doing her own interpretation. So it did take me a while to get the sponge cake piece.
It wasn't until RuPaul literally said it as RuPaul figured it out that I went, oh.
Yes.
The sponge asses were bad. I'm sorry. It looked so bad. The front is cool. Like, I love the concept. The outfit itself is really cool. I love everything. The sponges as the butt, which is supposed to be like the point of the runway.
Yes. Also, we talked about this last week, but Nina Bernina Brown is her drag mother, apparently.
Yes, there might be an estranged relationship between the two, is what I think somebody in the comment of our video said that last time. Also, going back to Ariete as well, somebody in the comments last week did point out that flamenco is not Mexican. That is a Spanish traditional dance, and that what Ariete did was likely more of a Mexican folklore kind of dance, not flamenco like we had said. So I just also want to thank you for educating us on that. Mm-hmm. We were clearly ignorant, so thank you for doing that. If we ever do that, please say stuff in the comments so that we can make sure to bring it up the next week.
We'd love to learn.
Yeah.
We'd love to learn.
Yes, and correct us. Let's get the correct information out there. Yeah, I look, I like the creative interpretation, but the fact that I couldn't tell what it was to me makes it a moot. Because I don't hate it.
What up? On that forehead.
Monet Exchange found dead.
Right.
Sponge dress,
Okay, Lydia Butthole Collins up next. We will also be saying the full butthole. Aman, Tudor boots.
It looks like it's falling apart. So I want to say boot.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to say boot too.
Toot concept, boot execution.
Okay. Yes, I would agree with that.
So
boot for butthole.
B for butthole. And last is Susie Toot, who does also sort of a performance-esque thing. I only have the still from the pre-ass, but she drinks the potion and then turns into an ass. So that was her interpretation of cake with ass, which I did think was creative. So I'm going to give her some points for that. I didn't love it. Oh my God, this is amazing. But I'll give her a toot for the creativity.
I'm giving her a 2. I didn't like the look for the ass portion, but at least I was entertained and I remembered it.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think it needed to just maybe go a little further. I don't know, maybe you rip off the sleeves and your arms are also furry. I don't know. I just needed it a little. Maybe you take off the wig, and I got it, and I loved it, and I loved that it was different from everybody else's. Definitely a good idea. So toot. But I just wanted more. Really go there if you're gonna do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree with that. We have 2 lip syncs to talk about. The first is Lexi Love versus Crystal Envy, which, by the way, Doechii I thought was absolutely fantastic. as
Love.
a guest judge. I was very, very happy. If you are not familiar with her music, I highly recommend check out her Tiny Desk concert that she did on NPR. That was a good sort of like sample platter to her music, or just go to Spotify, shuffle her top songs. You will fall in love. I swear.
Literally immediately started adding her music to Apple Music because I hadn't heard of her before. And after that, I loved the song so much and I loved the performance, but I was like, ooh, I got to download her. She's great.
And she recently came out as queer.
Yes, congratulations.
Yep.
Well, I think Lexi Love won this for me, and it was not particularly close. So.
Lexi I will laugh to say that I loved that it was two white women like with this song, but Lexi gave me the attitude and everything without lip syncing a black scent. Does that make sense?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
I feel like there are women and drag queens and such who are not black who will get there and try to quote unquote be black while they're lip syncing. I got a true
yeah, Mom's nailing it. That's so true.
But I felt like Lexi embodied the attitude and everything without crossing that line. I thought that she did a great job. I was captivated by her. I felt like Crystal was there.
Yeah. And I love how Doechii was so I just love it when the artists are there to see their own songs get lip synced to, and you think she was so in it. She was so supportive.
Lip syncing herself. I love
it. She was like feeling the fantasy herself. I love watching that happen. So it was definitely a really good performance.
Okay, so then we also get the Rate a Queen, of course, which gave us our top two, Lexi Love and Crystal, but it also gave us our bottom performer, which was Hormona Lisa, who ends up with Acacia Forgot performing together. And it was interesting, the contrast, I think, between the two performances, between the two lip syncs sort of back to back. Yeah, it was fine, I thought.
I wanted it to be over.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm not going to complain.
Say it. Okay. You look, everybody's trying their best. Okay. We're spreading positivity.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Exactly. And
it so just sucks to have to do that lip sync after a top two win.
That's what I'm saying. Like that set them up, it feels like, for failure, because obviously the win goes first. And it's like, well, these are sort of like the top two, and from a talent show, which they're like legit the performers of the group. So you're gonna have these two top performers. And then, I mean, I did feel like the alter ego was a better choice than Yes and also. So that I think there's just a lot of complexity there that was outside of the girls' hands. But Acacia Forgot I did for her. I love the makeup brush butt plug thing. That was very fun.
That was fun. I also like her being kind of strategic and getting some camera time this time, going around and trying to figure out who is somebody that she wants to lip sync against. Now it also just helps her that the one person she wanted to lip sync against also just didn't do great in the talent show. But I also think that like her coming into the workroom and going, I've been able to process that I'm in the bottom and I'm ready to lip sync. That is such a huge advantage if you are not somebody who can turn on when adversity faces you in the moment. And I felt like Hormona Lisa kind of, her light dimmed in that moment rather than being like, well, I'm gonna show them. And I feel like Acacia Forgot had the I'm gonna show you energy, which is what I think carried her to the win here.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. It doesn't actually matter, though, because even though Hormona Lisa technically lost the lip sync, we are getting, and can someone please explain this to me? Is this a season-long twist with Michelle being dunked? Okay, so
I don't know if it'll be Michelle every time. I'm hoping that there'll be like, this week it's Carson Kressley or something like that. I think it'll be funny if they do that.
Okay.
It'll basically be like a chocolate bar situation where one more queen is going to have 1 out of 9 chances to stay. It was 2 out of 10. Now there's going to be 9 lovers with 1 that's good. And then I think as soon as the 1 lover is obviously pulled, done. What I don't like about this, and I continue to not like about this in general, is we don't know if production is just completely rigging it or not.
Yep.
In the same way that we didn't know with the chocolate. Like, we don't know. Like, they could have very easily had to turn in the chocolate at some point and be given a different bar. Like, it's not like in Survivor when you, and we even in Survivor would be like, production hid that for so-and-so to see. But at least that person, we see them finding it, we see them keeping it and holding on to it and then using it, right? This is feels very much like, let's see what happens. Like, RuPaul didn't want to let the person that they like personally invited on camera to come and then go home first.
But then I'm like, okay, well, is it over? Because it's 7. Or will it just always be random? And then will we have multiple queens get saved?
I think that they're going to change it up every time because there's going to be fewer levers every time. So I'm sure they'll just change up whichever one is the correct lever. Or that's what they're.
I don't understand.
I hate it.
If it's fewer levers, that makes the odds
better.
Higher. So I'm like, why?
Well, that makes sense. Is the farther you get into the competition, you do want your chances to be better at staying. I think that it's stupid completely, and it should go away.
Okay, well, thank you for trying to explain.
That's how I interpreted it. I could be way off. God knows what RuPaul's doing. Side note, Michelle looked lovely in her, and like, I know that she's had completely like different like body transformations and such with her health and whatever. I thought she looked amazing in her bathing suit and such. And I maybe realized for the first, I was like, I've actually never seen Michelle wear something like we always joke that she's like a whore or whatever. She's whatever. But I always was laughing to myself because I was like, I don't think I've seen half of these tattoos on her because she's never in something like that short, revealing or whatever.
Right.
And I loved her dancing and playing around like it was water aerobics at the end in the tank. But
yeah. Okay.
All I know is I'm not touching lever fucking 8 or 7, whatever she licked, because that was nasty. It was so nasty.
It was great too because she did it because RuPaul would laugh, and then RuPaul was kind of like, interesting.
Yeah. Like, awkward. Okay. I think that's everything from this episode proper. Oh, next week we're going to have a design challenge with inspo from Monopoly. So, okay, get that Hasbro sponsorship, I guess, whatever. But what I am more interested in is for us to give who we think our top 4 is going to be. Because to me, I was evaluating the cast now that we've seen everybody, and I had 3 names immediately popped to my head as like, these queens are going to be in the end game. Yeah. And then I was like, who is that 4th spot? So who better to ask than Beth and Aman? And give us, also listeners, give us who you think is going to go to the end. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Because I gotta say, to me, Lexi Love, no shock, to me was a top performer. To me, I think from last week, Susie Toot also, given her prowess, I think that she is kind of coming to her own. I'm excited for her. And a charismatic force to be reckoned with, Jules Sparkles. Those were the 3 names I immediately wrote down. And I was like, who is that 4th person? Is that you too, Beth? You the same 3?
Lexi Love, Jules Sparkles, Susie too. And for context for our listeners, Liana said as she was pressing the button to start the recording, I want to ask each of you who your top 4 are, because I feel like I have a top 3. And I said, I'm going to write down who I remember and who I think are my top 3. And that was who I wrote down. And then I have 3 potential choices as the 4th spot.
Okay, Aman, help us get some clarity here. What about you?
My top 4, I share 2 of them with you.
Okay.
Lexi Love, Susie Toot, and then for me, it's also Corey King and Lucky Stars.
Lucky Stars is one of my 4th pick choices as well.
Okay, so then Beth, who are your alternatives? You said Lucky Stars. Do you share Corey King?
I do not. I have Lucky Stars, Sam Star, Lydia Butthole Collins. I feel like those are the 3 that, based off of how RuPaul enjoys them or legacy for who they are, what they've shown that's a little different or whatever. I just think that they're the 3 that are kind of are more in line with what they're doing. Like they know that. And I think that there's a level of polish I think that they have in their drag perspective.
It's actually funny. So I share from both the lists. Corey was one who immediately pops in my head is like, okay, this is someone who I could see based on personality and talent going pretty far. I do think that Lydia Butthole Collins could go far, just also purely based on the butthole. Not to say anything
I
bad
think
about
that
her talent.
RuPaul
She is also
wants to
talented.
say butthole all season.
Oh, yeah.
I literally think that is one of the big reasons for Lydia.
Sam Starr also was potentially going to be in that last spot for me, just purely based on the professionalism. And then I can't shake Anya Nerve. I just really hope that she can make it through because I think she's getting a lot of airtime. She's getting a lot of confessionals. I think if I have to lock in one, I'm probably going to lock in Sam for the professionalism of it all. But and the drag royalty, I think that she could be prepared for some of these comedy challenges, right? We see Trinity come into her own in there as well. So I'm going to say Sam for my fourth, but it's it's a battle, I think, for that last slot. I'm curious to see how the season unfolds.
I think Lydia for me is going to be that fourth spot. I think I think she's the kind of transformation. Oh, she has a journey. Like that's the kind of vibe I get from her. Maybe slightly discounted kind of queen at first, but I don't know. That's the vibe I get from her.
Oh, the badonkadonk goes into the theme of the season being wet. I didn't make that connection until now.
To be fair, I feel like they came up with 17 concepts and put them in one season as like season 17. What if we have 17 concepts and just confuse the shit out of everybody? But that's drag.
That's exactly what we're here to do. All right, let's get out of here. Beth, is there anything that you want to plug, social media or otherwise?
You can follow me at Beth-Dixon on Blue Sky. You can follow me at Augusta Wind 11 on Instagram, and technically, I guess, on TikTok for the next week, but I'm not posting there anyway. So good luck there. Nothing else at this point to push and plug. Just chilling out here in Drag Race.
All right, Aman, what about you?
You can also find me everywhere at Aman Adwin, Blue Sky, X, Twitter, whatever the hell you're calling it these days. All that jazz. You can check out my podcast with Matt Lagori, The Diary Room, where we are trying to find the best Big Brother player of all time, whatever that ends up meaning by bracket-style eliminations. We have quite a few guests that we're excited that will be... Actually, wait, I don't know if I can say that yet. Matt might kill me. Never mind.
You have to tune in and check it out.
Good guests coming up.
Yes. All right, and you can follow me on Blue Sky at Liana Ism. Puya and I officially launched the Puya and Liana Lounge.
Yes. It looks so good.
Out now. Thank you. It's out now. It's on YouTube, on the RHAP YouTube channel, or you can check it out in the Puya and Liana Lounge feed. All of that can be found puyaandliana.com. That's your one-stop shop to find everything for us. You can subscribe to the podcast. You can watch the video. I highly recommend check it out. Obviously, it's amazing. We launched our first episode, and then we're going to be coming back with weekly content dropping Thursday evening-ish, Thursday night-ish. So definitely check it out. It's just Puya and I talking about nonsense. You're going to want to hear it. All right. Yep. Thank you to the whole RHAP team for all of their help behind the scenes. It would not be possible without you. For us, leave your star ratings and reviews on iTunes or wherever your podcatcher is, Spotify, all that jazz. For us, it's a new season. All of those reviews are really genuinely helpful in terms of getting the podcast out and to any new listeners who might want to join the RHAP Drag Race family. So that does it for us. We are done here, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.